Hello, and welcome to another thrilling episode of We Only Look Thin. I am Catherine Weigel.
And I am Donald Weigel, and it is going to be thrilling. This episode involves the Oscars.
And crepes.
And ice cream cake.
And doctor's appointments.
And late night eating.
And dumpster fires. So stay with us, won't you? This is exactly what you want to hear on a weight loss podcast, right?
Yes, dumpster fires and ice cream cake.
So, we want to make it very clear that we only look thin. It is not just the name of our podcast, but it means we are on the razor's edge at any moment of becoming our 250-pound selves again. Like, as though we are, like, you know when you get those, like, pillows or whatever that are in those plastic sealed tight vacuum packed things, and they're all flat, and then you have to, like, you poke one hole and then suddenly it, like, expands. I feel like I am one like pointy pencil point pasta away from...
You'll get poked in the wrong way and suddenly you'll be 250 pounds.
I do. No, I'm up on the scale this week and it's only a couple of pounds, and I, like, automatically just start avoiding my clothes because I just assume that they're not going to fit. Like, I'm like, well, it's all over. Like, podcast is over, everybody.
Well, I think there are also victories in this story.
Now let's save the victories. The people want to hear about the failures first. So let's talk about the failures, the Oscars. Let's take you back a week.
I don't know what that is.
Wah 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 wah.
Yeah.
So let's go to the Oscars. So Oscars was on a Sunday. How did you prepare for the day? We did not attend the Oscars, but we had a little we were with people, with pizza.
Yes, we got invited to an Oscar gathering, and I had decided that I was going to eat... We knew there was going to be pizza there, and I had decided I was going to have a little bit of pizza. Yeah,
and I... in my sober early morning mind, I thought to myself, I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to have a sensible breakfast. I'm going to pre-track my day. And I did all of that. And then, faced with the steely gaze of 3 ginormous pizzas, I gave in to my own peer pressure. And I also used a loophole, too, because our host brought in the pizza, and he said, like, oh boy, there's a lot of pizza here for the people that are here. And I was like, oh no, he's going to feel like he bought too much pizza, so I should eat it to make him feel better. I don't know if
I better eat all that pizza.
I don't know if Gretchen Rubin has a loophole for that, but if there is a cheesy loophole, then that is the loophole that I chose. But it's serious. Like,
there was a side of cheesy loopholes, too.
So I had planned 2 pieces of pizza. I think 6 pieces later.
Yeah, I must have had at least 6, and there were backyard s'mores.
There were s'mores.
Yeah.
You can't say no to s'mores.
I had 2 s'mores, and then I regretted later not having more s'mores, which was really weird.
Yeah, so it was overindulgent, and I actually went to sleep that night feeling really sick to my stomach. I had eaten way too much. And I justified it at the time, but I didn't need that third s'more. I don't need s'mores.
I needed that third s'more. I didn't have it because I didn't feel that bad physically.
So that was Sunday. Yay, Oscars.
Yeah, but like, and you know, my philosophy for the last 2 years has been, you have a day like that, or I have a day like that. I'm going to own it. Not say you. I'm going to say me. I have a day like that, and I realize it's just a day, and I move forward and, you know, get right back on the plan, right back on track.
And that is typically what I have done, but now we're going to get into the dumpster fire portion of the program. So settle back all with your fire retardant pajamas, because we're going to take you into an asbestos wonderland. I don't know, dude.
Asbestos wonderland.
I'm taking antibiotics
Asbestos
right now.
Wonderland is playing the Troubadour this weekend.
They are. So I got sick on Monday. I have a cold, and I was feeling tired, and so that was on Monday. So I just kind of ate whatever I wanted because I wasn't feeling well, and you had to work early, so we didn't do our morning walk.
Yeah, I didn't hit my step goal on Monday because I had to be at work at something like 7 a.m. and so I didn't get up early. But I still, I don't know. I don't know if I should say this. I actually did fine on Monday.
Okay. I did none fine. None fine Monday. None
I'm not
fine
trying to make
Tuesday.
you feel bad.
I do not feel bad.
I did fine on Monday.
But I, through the week, was getting sicker and sicker, and I think I don't have my calorie tracker in front of me, but I ate too much Monday. Tuesday, I was totally on track. Wednesday, I think I ate 3 days worth of calories and was really sick and just kept going to packaged foods. We didn't have a ton of stuff in the house. Like, it was really hard for me to even go into the kitchen and make anything because I felt so terrible. Thursday, I did terribly. And then Friday, I finally went to the doctor. And I almost didn't go because I knew I was up on the scale. And I didn't want him to know that I was up on the scale. So I started bargaining with myself. Could I find very light cottons to wear, maybe some very fine polyesters like they wear in the Olympics.
Inhale helium on the way to the scale.
Yeah, but I used to do that. When I would avoid the doctor or go to the doctor, I would take off like every article of clothing that would still keep me within the bounds of decency codes set by our government. But I would like wear no socks, like flip-flops, shorts, like in the middle of winter, trying to like sandbag my weight.
We need to revise the government decency codes to cover this behavior.
The government. But I would take off my earrings hoping that the scale would go down. And I found myself on Friday wanting to do that. Like, okay, what can I wear today that will offset my my weight gain? And sorry, I am actually sick. This is live television,
this is
people.
Real.
But I decided that was my old thinking creeping in, my old eating patterns creeping in, and so I wore jeans and a belt to my doctor, and I didn't take anything off.
Yeah.
Which was a big deal because I just owned where I was. So I was up on the scale a few pounds. I feel like now that I'm on antibiotics, I'm back on track, but it was a giant dumpster fire. Like when you're sick and there's a dumpster fire, you're like, it's over. Like the podcast is over. I'm just going to burn all my clothes. Like I'm going to get that wine barrel to wear, like just from a couple of days. And I can't trust myself when I'm not.
Well, do you feel now though, like you're getting it back together?
I do. I think it's, and we can talk about this later, but I think it's inevitable that we go through phases where we feel weak and exposed and overwhelmed and not our best. And I know I joke about it, but I've talked about so what is the name of your autobiography? Like the week I gave up because I ate pizza at the Oscars, like the Katherine Weigel story. Like there's no end. Like I just have to keep moving forward. So Friday, I was able to stay in my calorie goal. I'm feeling a little bit better. I'm still not getting in my steps because I'm sick, but I'm kind of just owning that and knowing that right now it's not the time to do that. But it was really hard, and you worked really, really long hours and weren't around, and
And I think that part of the point here is that, we've both lost over 100 pounds, and that doesn't mean that we're done. We're not finished. There's no end. Like we don't have all the answers, and we, the larger we as humans, still like when you lose the weight, and you are going to lose the weight, when you lose the weight, you still have to work at it all the time, every day. And there isn't a magic like, hey, well, I hit my goal weight, now I can go back to doing what I did before. I am still the person inside that I was when I was 100 pounds heavier than this, and that person still wants to eat all the pizza and all the s'mores at an Oscar party, and I've got to find a way to live my life so that I don't do that.
So to that end, I know you're working with some people that have known you at a heavier weight and some who have only known you at your thinner weight. And I think that there is, you've talked before about there being a lot of treats at your job. And I feel like this week was a treat extravaganza at your workplace. Why don't you talk a little bit about craft service?
Yeah, it was, it was like running a gauntlet of delicious foods or something. The food gauntlet.
Tell them about the day that you were like, oh, and it started with this, and then went on to...
Well, first of all...
So tuck in, people. Get your calorie counters out.
First of all, I worked 4 straight. Monday wasn't too terrible. I think that was only like a 13-hour day, which is, saying something that 13 doesn't seem so bad. But I then worked 4 straight 15-plus hour days in a row, Tuesday through Friday. And one of my days, I didn't have to be in at work until about noon. One of my days, I think it was Thursday, started with, I got there and there was laid out, the office had ordered buffet-style lunch from Panera Bread, which was sandwiches and trays of cookies and salads and just laid out like all you could eat. And that was followed by the someone bringing in a giant box of Donut Friend donuts.
Donut Friend. Donut Frenemy.
Donut Friend. Yeah, Donut Frenemy. Donut Friend is a donut shop here in Los Angeles, which
it's so good.
is crazy good. And they're not just like your normal typical donut flavors, but there's like sliced in half and filled with whipped cream and strawberries, and some of them covered with candy bars, and it's crazy.
So Panera and then donuts, and it stopped there, right, Donald? That was all the treats for the day?
No, it did not.
Oh, what?
Then around dinner time, of course, it's a TV shoot. We broke for lunch, in quotes, which is really dinner. And so the caterer, of course, has, buffet style, whatever you want laid out, also trays of desserts and all kinds of hearty foods and high-calorie things.
And that's all that there was.
It's just free, and it's just available, and I could eat as much as I want.
And that was it.
And that was not it.
Oh, what?
Then the network, as a thank you for all of our hard work, ordered a crepes truck. Yes.
Oui, oui. I was trying to think of any French words that I know.
It was actually called Crepes Bonaparte.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Oops, I creped myself.
Oops, I creped myself.
That's mine. That's the name of my creperie.
Yeah, that's
that I'm
like you
start.
Build your own crepes or something.
So they had crepes. So he had a gauntlet of Panera donuts.
And so for 2 hours, they were serving made-to-order dessert crepes, and you could go to the truck and ask for whatever you wanted, and there it was. And then, late at night, we were filming late. After that, somewhere around 11 p.m., midnight, the craft service guy ordered pizza for the set.
No! Oh my God.
Yes. All of this in one day. And guess what? I had none of the things that I have just mentioned. I managed to get past it all. And guess what did me in? It wasn't any of that. It was staying up until 3 a.m. is what did me in. And I did myself in.
Oh.
I passed up all those like delicious gourmet things. And instead, I ended up eating a Kind bar out of the pantry because I was starving at 2 a.m, and then I got home and just started and this is where I think I'm under control, but just started like pounding Pringles and my peanut butter cups, and it was just sort of like once I started, I was just off to the races. So I passed up on all of those, and then I was kicking myself later. I was like, why didn't I just have a crepe? Like, if I just had a crepe and not just like nibbled all of these other things.
But I think that is, and we've talked about it before. I think I struggle there too because, I was really sick the one day. As I've mentioned before, our daughter doesn't really care about food, whereas I've always cared about food. And she can cook like hot dogs probably, but, not not much else, but I didn't feel like cooking. And so I was just eating like packaged food after packaged food, like not even cooked, just like, I'm going to eat a Lenny and Larry 200 calorie cookie, and now I'm going to eat a Pringle, and now I'm going to eat a whatever. And I thought, like, after my haze of packaged foods, I was like, I could have just ordered friggin' takeout and like had food instead of just feeling sorry for myself. But I think it begs the question, and I don't know that we have the answer, but, you know, if you're going to be up from 8 a.m. until 3 a.m., like, how are you going to make it work for you?
Well, and you know, that's really the thing. You know, I've realized just recently that in the last 2 years, even though I've had late nights at work and I've had long days, I haven't had. I've been pretty fortunate to be able to consistently go to bed around 10 p.m. most nights because I'm super party guy. And if I can do that, then I don't have any trouble sticking to my diet plan. But I've really just realized recently, if I'm going to be awake, if I'm going to work 15-hour days or 16-hour days and be awake that late, I've got to adjust. And so I've had to come up with a new, and this is just within the last 2 days, you know, plan if I know I'm going to be up that late. So Trader Joe's has these new, at least I think they're new, these new refrigerated soups. And they are the whole tub.
They're like, what? Wait, what is he going to say? What's the weird trick? Oh, it's soup.
Yeah.
Okay, soup trick.
Well, no, I'm
they're
just
delicious.
using it
I'm
as
joking,
an example.
I'm
But so what I decided to do was try Thursday to eat to save more calories for later and spread things out. What I typically do is about 7 o'clock have a big meal and then sort of eat largely treats and junk food until bed. Well, I can't do that if I'm staying up till 3 a.m. So eating something, saving something hearty. I ate my dinner later. I made it smaller. I didn't have dessert. I ate this Trader Joe's soup is like 250 calories for a whole, like 1 pound tub of it. It's split pea they have, and they have a minestrone, and they have some other things. And that seemed to really help. Thursday night, though, I still, I ate a little bit of dessert earlier than I should, and I felt like that was kind of a trigger. And so I ended up going over my calories by maybe 300 or 400. On that day. But then last night, learning my lesson, Friday night, I knew I was going to be at work until about 3 a.m. and another, 15 plus hour day. And so I decided not to eat any sort of junk food while I was still at work, and I kept eating things like carrot sticks and drinking cups of tea, and I ate one of those soups at like 11 o'clock at night and managed to hold on to about 300 calories until I actually got home. And so right before bed, I finally had a little bag of chips and a couple of peanut butter cups and then went straight to bed. And I managed to stay on my calories yesterday. So I feel pretty good about that.
Well, and I think taking this to the people, if we may, I think it speaks to planning for emergencies and preparing for being sick, having to work long hours, being off schedule, having a loved one in the hospital or something, and suddenly you're off your plan and you have to go and, not do your norm. And I'm so used to being on track and having everything at my fingertips and feeling good that when I feel bad, it surprised me how quickly I went into not walking, eating crap, and it scared me. Like, it actually, I was like, oh my God, is this my life now? Like, all of the progress that I've made is gone because, I'm sick for a few days. So I think in terms of perspective, knowing now, this isn't forever. Nothing is forever. Thin isn't forever. Heavy isn't forever. And being sick and tired is not forever. So I kind of stepped back and stopped catastrophizing it and just going, okay, I don't feel well right now. I can't walk. Like, simmer down and like, don't eat Bridget's snack food. Like, get out of the pantry, So I went to the grocery store. I got a lot of fruits and vegetables. I, got a lot of easy serve meals to keep on hand. I bought some packaged Trader Joe's chicken noodle soup, and I set myself up for success by having items around that are healthy and filling. And I also decided that, I don't know even if I told you this, that nothing good happens in the kitchen after 8 p.m. for me. Like at home and in a normal, I'm not talking about 3 a.m. working guy.
Yeah.
But like, I don't make any good choices after 8 p.m. when I go into the kitchen. Like, I'm never like, oh, an apple, everybody. Like, it's always crap. So I have decided that for the foreseeable future that the kitchen closes for me at 8 p.m.
Wow, that's a bold move.
And I even told our daughter about it so that she could hold me accountable. I think I have to give her like $1 if I go into the kitchen after 8.
I think I've decided that I can't eat. I just am not capable, or at least not yet capable of eating junk food when I still have 3, 4, 5 hours to be awake.
So do you think at work, because you were sending me pictures of you eating sad carrots and then just displays of like giant pallets of food?
It was one woman's last day at work yesterday, and so there were tubs of pasta for lunch. I make it sound so appetizing. Tubs of pasta, buckets of pasta, and then they brought in a big Baskin Robbins ice cream cake.
I feel like we're just making people hungry with our episodes. Like we've been accused of that.
I had to. I am proud of myself. I avoided all of it. I ate the food that I brought with me, and I think that I guess the point I'm trying to make is like I, who have pretty much zero willpower, if I can do it, anybody can. And it's not easy, but I've had to change my plan. But I now feel like I have an action plan for when I have to be up till 3, and it may not go well all the time, but I know that if I that I can't let myself eat those first things when I'm going to be up that late.
So do you feel like you just have to 100% abstain from all the free food?
I think pretty much I do, yeah.
Because once you start, I'm the same way.
Once I start, I can't stop.
No.
And I bring, I have my food day planned out, and I bring exactly what I'm going to eat with me. Now, there are some things in the refrigerator, like Greek yogurt, that I will have one of those, but I would eat that anyway.
Yeah. And we were actually just talking about it as actual humans might talk to one another.
We don't just talk in front of a microphone.
No, we actually talk about things. But for me, like a serving is whatever size the package is. Like I love bread.
Very true.
Like love bread. Like if it were legal to marry bread, I would do that. And I still have to. I'm sorry. It's
what?
delicious.
Why am I'm not supposed to be upset about that?
It's fine. Let's just make it to 20 years.
All right. Fine.
But like when I was a kid, I would get a loaf of bread and I would go into my room and just eat loaves of bread with butter, like legit, and nobody ever questioned me. Which is where'd all the bread go? I don't know.
Yeah.
But our daughter was saying that she wanted some bread, and she doesn't have food issues like I do. And I was like, I'll buy it for her. Loophole.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I am fooling myself. Like, I will eat all of the bread because it's in one package. So I ended up buying at Trader Joe's, sponsored by Trader Joe's, these rolls that are single serving, 130 calories each. And I see those as a discrete unit of measure, like one roll, that's what I eat. But a whole loaf, those are just slices of one piece for me. Like I'll just eat it all. So I still have to get really honest with myself. Why am I buying something? Who am I buying it for? Like I cannot touch the shelf in the pantry that has her food on it. Like nothing good happens when I grab Oreo Thins. Like it's not good. And I am not a trash person who just grabs whatever is in front of me. And this week I did make some bad choices. But I feel like in the sober light of day, I feel like if we do go to an event, I really have to watch my serving. And like, I don't know if I need to bring my own personal pizza or something. But like, I just was like, I'm doing it for them. They bought pizza. I need to eat it. Like,
no, we both need to do that. And even as I have felt rock solid under control for a long time and have realized it can slip away,
crumble.
That control.
Like delicious crumb cake.
Yeah. And it's okay, and it's going to happen, and I've got the rest of my life, and I've got to work these things in.
Well, and that's like, I'm up on the scale a few pounds and I feel crappy. And so every next choice is the next opportunity to go down a path. So I could either say, okay, I'm up 3 pounds, so screw it, and I'll see you when I'm 250 pounds again, and then I'll cry and be like, what happened? It was like, oh, it was just that one night you had pizza. Like, what was the point? Like, you were up 2 pounds, YOLO, you might as well gain it all back. Like, so there's always a new chance for understanding yourself better, preparing. I need to have a few things in the freezer that are grab-and-go foods that I actually like, so that if I am sick, that I have something on hand that I can cook really easily without having to use the stove. Like, so what can you do, listener, to prepare yourself for the unexpected? Because it's gonna happen.
Yeah, and it is about being ready for the unexpected, and about being flexible, and being able to adjust. And I've had to adjust, and I'm going to have to adjust the next few months as long as I'm working on this TV show. It seems like we're going to be doing a lot of these long days and late nights, and think about your life and what sort of weight adversity is going to come up. You're going to get invited to Oscar parties, maybe. But it's so easy to say, well, what was I supposed to do? I was trapped, or I was at a business meeting all weekend, or they had it catered. Like, what was I going to do? And Dawn, you seemed really distraught about how many hours you're working and your food. And, as I was eating all of the Oreos in the house, but you're like, oh, what am I going to do? And I feel like we really do have to talk about how we're going to make a solution, because we can either say, like, well, I guess we're screwed, like, this is life, and so I'm just going to gain weight. Like, yeah, and I can't do that. I can't go back up again. I just can't let it happen. And so I have to adjust. And I thought I had my plan down pat, and now it's got to change because of circumstance. And too, with that, and I think, hopefully this is where a community of support comes in, is it's really important to talk about your challenges, because I could have hidden my concern about going to my doctor. I could have hidden the fact that I had eaten snacks. And with talking to Dawn about it and my online community, being honest about it really helps. It takes away some of the shame. It takes away the stigma, because we all do it. We're like, there's no, maybe there is a perfect person out there, but I don't want to know them. But no one wants to be friends with a perfect person. No, but it's, talk about your issues, share, get ideas from other people. It's so helpful just to get a perspective and to say something out loud when you're feeling vulnerable. So check us out on the We Only Look Thin Facebook page. Yes, we'd love to hear from you and what you do to get over your adversity and to get over unexpected surprises. Because surprises are coming. They are. Let's see, did we talk about all the things that we said we were going to talk about? I don't know. We talked about crepes and dumpster fires, but tomorrow is a new day. The next in 5 seconds from now, it's going to be 5 seconds from now. We'll have another podcast where we can talk about some other things, too. We will. And we appreciate you listening very much. Thank you so much. And please, if you have a moment, we'd love other people to find us and find how inspirational we are and flawed and dumpster fiery. So rate and review us on iTunes if you wouldn't mind. That would be super duper. That helps a lot. And please tell anybody you know who might be interested in listening to us that we exist. And that we are inspirational. The information that you hear on this podcast is for informational purposes only. The hosts are not medical professionals. You should always consult with your doctor, nurse, or other certified health professional before beginning any diet or fitness program.